everybody, this is Lil Jar, and I'm here with my little friend, Yazzie. Say hi, Yazzie. Say hi, Yazzie. I want to thank all of y'all for y'all concerns and everything, asking about me, wondering if I'm okay. As y'all can see, I'm here, I'm good. And wishing you all happy holiday.
What's up, everybody? You know what time it is. This young lady right here needs no introduction to those of us who've been watching me for the past 2 years or more. But for those who are not in the know, this right here is my sister Faye. Say what's up, Faye.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? Please forgive the eye if you see me dabbing the chemtrails. Got them waterfall right about now.
But that's all good, because you know, I told you and I told the audience that, you know, they've been looking for you to do a video with me for the longest. So I figured since we are right at the cusp of a new cycle, it would be a good time to have you to sit and talk and share with us in a more intimate kind of way.
Yeah, counting in 2016, so we...
Yeah. Look, can you imagine? I mean, just think about it. Look at how fast 2015 has come and gone. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, time is really accelerating.
It's accelerating, no joke about it. Anyway, let's get to the meat of this video. I'm not caring about how long this video is going to be because I have not done a video in about a month and a week or so.
Right.
So this is going to be a makeup for the time in which I wasn't producing or making any videos, but it's also 3 videos in one. So it's basically 3 videos in one.
Lucky.
3 videos in
one. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 3. So again, I'm not so concerned about the timeline and how long the video is going to be. As usual, I'll put in the talking points in the description box below. If you don't want to sit through the whole video, just go to the description box and click on the timeline for the talking point of your interest, and it'll take you right there. Everybody's happy. If there's nothing that we're talking about you're not interested in, hey, go ahead and stop the video right now.
Moving on.
Yeah. So let's start off with The Wiz Live. Now, The Wiz was broadcast on NBC December 3rd, and of course I hadn't done a video since then. I want to talk about The Wiz. Now, I did a blog about The Wiz, sharing symbolic and metaphysical meanings behind the characters and the symbolism in The Wiz. But The Wiz has a deeper meaning and impact. There's a backstory with The Wiz for me. That's why I chose to blog about it, and that's why I chose to talk about it right here. And I'm going to share some more spiritual symbolism that I took away from The Wiz. Now, The Wiz is I can't even get the word out. The Wiz is an adaptation of the classic The Wizard of Oz. And both movies play somewhere in the world every year since their release.
Right.
The Wiz, The Wizard of Oz. So the very first time I saw The Wizard of Oz, I was maybe 5-6 years old, because the original Wizard of Oz was released in the 40s or 50s, I'm not sure. And it was a brilliantly written and brilliantly produced classic and movie. When The Wiz came out, when I first saw The Wiz, I was about 9 years old, and The Wiz was a spin-off of the Broadway version of The Wiz. Now, when I saw the movie The Wiz starring Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, I instantly felt a connection with this movie as a little boy. Why? Because it was the very first time I saw people who looked like me,
right,
who were playing into a reality or world that was beyond what we usually see. And of course, you guys know I was born with the veil over my face, so I've always seen things and decoded the world in a way that was very unconventional. So when I saw The Wiz about a young lady being whiffed off into a world with strange beings and creatures, it really resonated with me, and it resonated with me to a point where I became obsessed with The Wiz. Remember, we used to pretend that we were easing on down the road. We would sing and play around. She was Dorothy. I was the Scarecrow. I was really obsessed.
We used to put popcorn on the ground. And
pretend that was the Yellow Brick Road. And I was really obsessed with the Scarecrow character. I really identified with the Scarecrow, Michael Jackson's role. At that time, I wasn't a big Michael Jackson fan, but of course I knew who he was. But I really respected that role for some reason. I really identified with it. Now that I'm older, I know why. And I later on became a huge Michael Jackson fan. Big ups, much respect to Michael Jackson, y'all. But I became a huge Michael Jackson fan, and he influenced me. He's one of my biggest influences, regardless of genre, whatever the case may be. So I would always get my sister to play The Wiz with me when I was a little boy. And so when I went to junior high school, they had a play. They did a production play of The Wiz, and I went to audition for the Scarecrow. I wanted that role so bad. I didn't get it, but they liked me so much, they thought I would be a better fit for The Wiz.
Yes.
Now, it was a bittersweet situation for me because I was still able to be a part of the play, the production, but I didn't get the role that I wanted, but I made the best of it. Remember when I did The Wiz? Now I remember you guys wanted to come and see me, but because it was during regular school hours, you couldn't come and see me. And I think I did a pretty good job. I wish I can find my music teacher to get that footage of me. I've never seen it. I know it was recorded, but I never seen it. So now, coming back to The Wiz Live, when I found out that this was going to be aired on NBC, which is kind of like a Broadway meets documentary / reality TV / I mean, they've really taken these live musicals to another level. I've never seen one on TV like that is live. It is my understanding there were others, but I made it a point to watch this one. And let me tell you, I loved it. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. It was very well put together.
It was
despite little mistakes, but overall it was pretty decent.
Yeah, there was some camera angle issues here and there. Of course, these things happen when you do things live.
Right.
Like when we do our videos, sometimes we let the bloopers, we let it be seen because no one is perfect and we all make mistakes. That's just the nature of life. But I want to say cinematography, but that's not the word. The visuals, the imagery, the costuming, the set design, the colors, the beautiful people, the chemistry between the characters. Members. Exactly. Yeah. Shawnice Wilson, I believe is her name. Right. She is a unknown. Many people that are so-called breakout stars in show business nowadays, many of them are like people who are already related to someone who's in the business or someone who has stock in the business in some kind of way. But what I liked about this backstory with The Wiz Live is that they literally auditioned unknowns. They wanted an unknown person to carry this show and play Dorothy. Shawnice Wilson is her name, I believe. Beautiful, beautiful young lady. She did an outstanding job, and that was a lot to carry. She did a phenomenal job, it is not easy to do, but she's such a natural. We actually witnessed a star being born.
Beautiful personality.
Beautiful personality. I've seen interviews of her. Her spirit radiates. She has that larger than life presence and spirit, and I can see why they picked her to play Dorothy. Everyone sounded great. They sung live. The acting was on point. It's a classic. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen is that a live audience to interact. It would have carried it more and less commercials. Now, we DVR'd it so that we can look at it and skip through the commercials, but I would still like to sit and watch it without the commercials. And even
the commercials kind of break the flow, the monotony of it kind of breaks it.
Yeah, it does. It breaks the energy. And of course, they're putting it out on DVD, and we're going to be sure to get that to support an all African American cast who did a phenomenal job. Kudos, big props to the director, the actors, the dancers, the artists, everyone who participated in The Wiz. Now, I want to talk about some of the symbolic meaning of The Wiz that I did not blog about on astrobluebaby.net. If you guys want to read the blog that I had done about The Wiz around the time it was aired, I will put that link in the description box as well. But what I didn't mention in the blog is that I love the theory, the way in which they play out what actually happens with us in this life. Meaning, she is experiencing this ordeal in an alternate reality, but it's really in her mind. It's kind of like a dream. The original Wizard of Oz showed us this, but the Wiz didn't really show it in that way. The Wiz kind of played it as if it actually happened in a 3D kind of way, but the original Wizard of Oz played it out with she was hit on the head during the tornado. Something hit her in the head and knocked her unconscious, and her consciousness went into another reality. So I love the parallel correlation with us being in this reality. In many ways, we are really somewhere else. The true greater us is somewhere else, but we're here in this strange land, in this reality, playing these characters. The other thing that I like about The Wiz is that when you look at it, the guys who played the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow before she got whisked off into this other world were relatives of hers.
Her immediate family.
Her immediate family members, right? But when she went into the land of Oz, her immediate family members were there, but they were different characters, but she wasn't acknowledging or remembering or making a conscious connection to who they are in these characters in the land of Oz. But again, excuse me, the Wizard of Oz showed this when Dorothy came back to her 3D reality, and she was saying, Uncle such and such, you were there, and you were there, and she was telling the story. So that was brilliantly put in the movie, in the play as well. I love that. And again, that is something that plays out in our reality so pleasantly well, because most of us don't remember having a life before now with members who we interact with here. Because again, the veil of amnesia comes down in this reality, and we interact with our loved ones, friends, and family members. We play different roles. You see, that's where I'm going with this. Anything you want to say about it?
You put it together very well.
Okay, all right. So the other thing that I really liked about it was, symbolically, was how the Wiz himself was this larger-than-life personality. This one being convinced so many people in the land that he was more powerful and had more influence and could protect them. Then you had all Dorothy looking to go to the Wiz to get home. You had the Lion looking for courage. You had the Straw Man or the Scarecrow looking for a brain, and you had the Tin Man looking for a heart. Now, they were going to this external force who turned out to be a fraud and wasn't real,
right,
to give them attributes and something that they already had within themselves or within their reach. Again, family, you see where I'm going with this. This too is playing out in this reality. There's so many powers that we have and so much that we already have, but that we are depending on external forces who many times do not have our best interest at heart, and who many times are consciously deceiving us for whatever reason. But when we give our power and trust into that, we miss the bigger picture, and that is the power is and has and will always be within self. You want to say something?
Like a strain, the whiz came from another world. It was new to them.
Right.
So a air balloon and a woman or man up in the sky, they worship that as if that was a god because
That's
they never
right.
seen that before. And the same thing here, like how history repeats itself. The same thing here. That's how people wind up giving their power to the external forces or beings that we cannot see.
Yeah, or beings like you hit it on, and I talked about this before. Beings from another realm or another world who come into our reality and demonstrate things that seem supernatural. Because the Wiz, before he came to the land of Oz, for those of you who don't know the story, he was a magician, and he landed in the land of Oz, and these strange beings seeing this balloon that he was in, and he was doing these tricks, and he convinced them that he was this super powerful god-like being. That has happened right here on Earth many, many times. In fact, this is where all the gods have come from. Okay, the gods that all the different cultures from around the world, it's basically people who didn't have a greater understanding of the greater realm of parallel realities of beings with technology or abilities that they were not privy to, who came and interacted with our ancestors and beings who were here and elevated them to God status. Now, some of these beings did bring great wisdom and taught us, our ancestors, a lot, but some of them used their platform to abuse and mislead or misdeceive. You see, so this is still playing out to this very day. Some of y'all don't want to hear this and don't like it, but hey, I have to speak it as it is.
Yeah.
You want to say anything else?
It's the reality of it. You know, you got so many people on this earth worshiping a false god that they never seen or spoken nor heard, you know. And that's how a lot of us are being tricked to be reincarnated here, because you don't know who the real gods are anymore.
Yeah, there are beings who are on the other side of the veil, and I'm going to talk about this more at a later time. I did touch on this briefly in the past, but yeah, there are beings who are on the other side of the veil, who are part physical and not physical, who understands how this thing works, and they take advantage of our ignorance.
Right.
And what's the saying? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You have laws of the land, but you also have universal laws. These beings understand both. So if they trick and deceive us into believing that they're gods or the god, and they trick us into reincarnating back here, that is allowed because we choose to be ignorant or to give our power to an external force. No one is forcing us to do that. When we throw all caution to the wind and just trust everything that we are taught and told and don't question anything, and don't learn to trust the self or connect with yourself or have a direct connection with source yourself, we open ourselves up to this kind of trick.
Yeah, that's why the world is a mess now, because people looking for someone to give them the answer, and the answer is within you all along. So that's why they keep the race war going on. They got us celebrating these holidays. They got us looking at all these distractions that's going on. Then next thing you know, they got all these crazy new laws on the book that we never even heard about.
Those are distractions to pass a lot of these laws. Absolutely. It goes really, really deep. Now, we can do a 5-hour show on this alone, but I really want to move on, because I don't know how much time we have in the camera. That's the only reason why I have to move it along, but you definitely adding some great intel and adding more great stuff to this conversation. The next thing I want to do is to give you guys, this was given to me by Spirit, and it is because many of us are having problems with our digestive system. Many of us are experiencing negative side effects of the mutation of our DNA, the acceleration process that is going on. And some of us are just having serious health problems altogether. And let me tell you, when it's all said and done, all of this is rooted in the gut.
Yes.
Our intuition, our discernment is off. So what Spirit has impressed, what was downloaded to me, is a way to improve healthy gut flow and to tune up our intuition and become more in tune with our intuition. Now, we will be right back to talk about some otherworldly experiences that we had, and of course we're going to tie a moral to it, as we always do. So let's get to the exercise showing you guys how to get those electrical charges flowing through the body as they should, and tune up that gut flow, improve healthy gut flow, and improve intuition.
Yes.
We'll be right back. The first thing we need to do is get that breathing right. Breathing, proper breathing, is very, very key to any kind of exercise. The proper way to breathe is in through the nose and out through the mouth. And your diaphragm should expand as you take breath in, and it should constrict or go in as the breath comes out. So let's start off by taking 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to be doing this same form of breathing throughout this exercise. All right, so let's take a deep breath in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Now we're going to get comfortable. For me, I am on this exercise mat. If you want to do it on your bed or whatever, use your own discretion. You want to get back, lie down, and get as comfortable as possible. All right? So once we get comfortable, we want to put the soles of our feet together as such and rest it on the bed or mat or whatever your choice is. Again, let's take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now I'm going to have to lift my shirt up to expose my belly. If you guys want to do this naked, hey, go ahead. Also, it is best to do this on an empty stomach or when you're fasting, but it's not necessary. If you want to do it totally naked with no socks, that's even better, all right? So we're going to start with isolation of hand movement. For instance, to start off, we're going to start with our fingers, all right? So our fingers should touch our abdomen as such. Then we are going to gently tap as so. Up and down. You see? Up and down for about a minute. And when the minute is up, you relax your hands on your abdomen. Take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and rub your abdomen. Rub it. Feel it. All right? The next thing we're going to do is the palm of our hands, all right? So we're going to put the palm of our hands to our abdomen as so, and we're going to do the same thing, but with the palms. Again, this is the isolation portion of the exercise. And so we're going to slap our bellies lightly as so, up and down, up and down. You can do it in circles. Make sure you get all of the area. Relax your hands. Take a deep breath in through the nose. The deepest breath, as much breath as you can take in and out through the mouth. Now we're going to bring it all home. We're going to use the fingers, palm of the hands, everything. So basically, we're going to slap our bellies. And again, it is your discretion as to how you want to do this, the intervals in which you want to use it. Feel, go along with what you feel, all right? So, we're going to slap our bellies as such. You want to do the spiral effect, which I do sometimes. Hey, go for it. And again, use your own discretion as to how many you want to do and how often you want to do it. And I guarantee, if you keep doing this, you will notice a difference in your gut flow and your gut intuition, because you're hitting these key points and you're sending electrical charge. You are igniting key electrical components within the hands and your abdomen. Rest the hand. Take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. All right? And that concludes this part of this exercise. All right, now y'all know I have so many stories to share that I've had on the astral realm, but I'll put a lot of those in the books. I know I've been talking about a book forever. The book will be done. And there's just been so many things that have come down the pipe that has distracted and thrown it off. And when I write, I have to be in a certain kind of state of mind. I have to be in a certain place. And I just haven't had that space to really get in and write that book. I've written about 8 chapters. I'm going to get that book done. But in the meantime, I will continue to share experiences here and there, but I'm not going to share every astral projection experience I have or have had, and I can't possibly share every otherworldly experience that I've experienced right here in this physical reality. But I'm going to share one with you, and Faye is going to share one with her, and like I said before, we're going to tie a moral to it. This one happened around 2006. I was living with one of my first close cousins at the time, and I was hanging out with some close friends of mine. We would periodically hang out at the Union Station in Washington, D.C. This particular day, we lost track of time and I almost missed my last train. So I had to catch a subway, then catch up 2 buses. The final bus would get me close to where we live, but I would still have to walk several blocks to get to my house, or where I lived at the time. And so I never had a fear of walking in the quote-unquote hood. We grew up in some of the most toughest, hardest parts of D.C. Valley Green, Congress Heights, Cedar Knoll. Cedar Knoll was a place we used to teach. The Minnesota Avenue crew. But Cedar Knoll, I'm thinking about a place we used to facilitate. Yeah, Berry Farms is another. So all you guys from Berry Farms and those areas, shout out to y'all. But and Eastgate. Eastgate is close to where I was living at the time with my cousin. It wasn't the safest neighborhood, but again, I never walked around in fear. I still don't to this very day, because I always had a knowing of divine protection without even calling it as such. It was just a knowing. Like I say, sometimes you just know things, right? So this was around 12:30ish a.m., 1 o'clock a.m. I'm walking on my way home, and I step up on a corner. I'm about 3 blocks away from where I was staying at the time, when all of a sudden a hoopty came up. The windows were tinted. The driver had his windows halfway down, and he stopped me. There were barely any cars, anyone around, because in this neighborhood you had, people who were basically hustling, in other words, selling drugs, right? And so there were territories in these areas. And again, that's another conversation. I don't want to get too deep on this. But a car comes up with the window halfway rolled down on the driver's side. And this brother looked like he was about the same age as me. He rolled the window down a little further, and he said, and before he could say anything, my gut instinct, my intuition was kicking in overdrive. It was danger. I started seeing red. Now, I never felt that level of danger in my life at that point. It was very intense. My adrenaline started rushing, and I immediately started shaking. I knew something terrible was afoot. So he rolled down his window a little bit, and as he rolled down his window, and he was like, "Hey, shorty." And I stopped, and I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And he said, "Yeah, do you know where Bass Place is?" And I said, "Well, Bass Place is right next over." Now, this is a one-way street. They were coming down, and there was like a hill that comes down to the bottom of this one-way street. And I'm just stepping up on this block. So I'm at the bottom of this street, but it's a one-way street. and they were coming down. They came down the street, and I saw where they started, the starting point, and they were driving very cautiously and really, really slowly, as if they were looking for something. And so again, my mind, danger, danger. I was feeling it was danger, danger. My adrenaline was running on high, and I said, well, if you go, and I was given instruction, Bass Place was literally the next 2 blocks over. And I was explaining to him how to get there. And he was like, oh yeah? And he was like looking around like this, like looking to see if anyone was around. Now by this time, when he leaned over to look to check to see if the coast was clear, there was a guy sitting on the passenger side, and there was some guys sitting in the back. My gut instinct tells me there were 5 guys in the car altogether, but it could have been more. And he was like, wait, yeah, for real? Like he was stalling. And I began to start walking. He was like, like he was trying to think of something else to ask me. Now by this time he's kind of down like this, like he had a gun or something in his hand. But that's what I was also feeling. And right when I felt they were going to make their move, literally, my hand to the Almighty, a car literally appeared at the top of the hill, stop sign, out of nowhere, and this car had tinted windows as well, and they didn't have high beams in a way that we would typically describe or see high beams, but their headlights was on very, very bright, like I've never seen it before. And the car slowly came up behind them with the bright lights on them. I couldn't see anybody in the car. The car was very black. I can't even describe what kind of car it was. It was so bizarre and so weird. I'm experiencing all of this at the same time. And so the guy was down in the car, and he was like, stay right there. So he had no other choice but to go ahead and go down around and turn back around. Do y'all honestly think I'm going to stand here and wait for these fools to come back and do whatever they're going to do? I hauled ass. Of course, I ran. And I ran until I was in the building, y'all. That's just the truth. Now, back then, and I told y'all about this story, but that car appeared out of nowhere. Back then, I couldn't explain how that was done. I can tell y'all now. Now, I'll come back to the moral, but you go ahead.
Well, my story is kind of like the movies. You can't believe it. You be like, no.
And this made the news, by the way,
yeah,
y'all. This story right here.
This was when my son was an infant. He was probably, about...
Yeah, he was about 9 months.
About 12 months, something like
that. He's 12 months.
No, he was about 16 because he could walk.
He was talking. Okay.
Yeah.
I know he was a baby either way.
Right, where he was, yeah. And this particular night, I was over my boyfriend's house. So it was probably about like 10 o'clock at night. I was like, well, it's time for us to go home. So you know how you get your kids together, put them up, or whatever the case may be. And there will be some points where I didn't really buckle Jamori down in a car seat like that. You know, when you're young, you do stupid stuff and don't know no better. But this particular night, I halted him and I put everything. I put the strap over his head, put the straps around his waist, made sure he was secure, everything, pulled the buckle over his head, and then I strapped him down in the seatbelt. And this particular night, I usually would have his car seat either on the right side or the left side. But this particular night, I moved his car seat in the middle that night. I moved him in the middle. I was coming from one side of the town going to the other side of the town. As I was driving, I didn't have the seatbelt on me, but I made sure he was secure in his place. But when we got to the other side to get to where I live at, as I was getting ready to go through the light, something told me to put my seatbelt on. So as I was coming through I got an impression. I put my seatbelt on. Lord knows, behold, soon as I went through the light, it was a police chase was chasing some young thugs. They was coming up the wrong side of the street. As I went through the light, they slammed into my car. My car skid out of place, and then
lost control,
and we flipped. We was flipping, and when we was flipping, we hit the bank. So we flipped some more, and flip. I mean, this was like actually what you see on TV, like Hollywood style. Flip. And when we flipped, we skid. When we the final flip, we skid. And as we skid, we skid right in front of a gas tank. My car was that much from hitting the gas tank.
I mean, literally.
Literally, my cousin saw it was on the news. We was dead.
You gotta tell them you flipped into a gas station.
Yeah, we flipped into a gas station, and as we flipped, the final flip, it skid, like the roof, it skid over to the gas tank. My car was that much away from hitting the gas tank.
We're talking about literally a little shorter than an inch. I mean, it was ridiculous.
That's how close, just how close we are. That's how close we were to the gas tank. Ambulance, fire truck, everything. I mean, it was so many people on the block at that time. When I went, as the fire truck and everything was coming, my mind, I guess everything shut down. I wasn't even thinking about my mind, was thinking of my son. Oh my God, my son. By the time I realized people already grabbed my son out the car. They had him about 2 blocks down somewhere. People moved him out the way. But my mind was thinking about my son. So as I snatched my seatbelt down, I fell. And because I was thinking
the car was upside down.
it was upside down, and I fell. But
it was on the side. It was on the
we was upside down.
Okay.
So when I took my seatbelt, I fell.
Okay.
So as I was getting out the car, I'm thinking about my son, and I cut my arm. My arm was gashed wide open. That happened due to me hitting the front windshield, because I was thinking about getting my son. I was panicking, getting my son out, so it cut my arm wide open. So by the time I realized, I didn't even know my arm or anything. I didn't know I had any bruise or anything. Only thing in my mind was my son. And when I saw my son, I was kind of relieved. That's when I realized blood was everywhere. So that's when they put me in an ambulance and everything, and took us to the hospital and everything. When I went to go get my title and everything out my car and everything, even the ambulance and the police officer, because I had to go get my keys and all that, they was like, somebody definitely was watching over you, because for one, me or my son should have been alive. That's the first thing they said. They were like, somebody was definitely watching over you two. Had a car hit the tank, it would explode the whole area. So it would have impacted everyone within that area, because it would have blew up, because that's how much was going on at that time.
Yeah. Well, and again, this made the local news, and the irony is that one of our cousins who don't live in the area just so happened to be on that block when that happened, so she witnessed it as well, and she's probably watching this video. What's up, cuz?
Yeah. What's up, man?
So that was that could have been an exit point, not only for her and my nephew, but thousands of people. Yeah. Because think about it, if this car had slammed and knocked and blew on the tank with the hot engine, the gasoline, that probably would have led to a massive explosion. Now, the moral behind this is this. Now that I'm older and wiser, I realize that that which is not supposed to happen, generally speaking, our guardians, you can call them gods, or whatever you want to name them, and they're there, trust me. When something is about to go down that is not supposed to be or meant to happen, usually they cannot interfere with our growth or our karma or whatever it is, or our mission, and directly interfere. They can't do that. But when these extreme cases, they can and they do interfere. And it's also to remind you guys that we are never alone. No matter what it feels like, no matter what it seems like. Now, people talk about Big Brother watching us. Well, guess what? Big Brother being watched too. Let's be real about it, okay? Everyone is being watched, okay? Now, to what degree and the agenda and reason behind being wise, we can talk about that one all day. But when it's all said and done, no one ever truly walks alone. And if it is not your time to go, or if something tragic or dramatic is not supposed to happen in your trajectory for whatever reason, it will be thwarted. Make no mistake about it, the gods, and they have technology and abilities that is beyond human comprehension. Again, it seems magical and supernatural from a perspective of one who is living in a box, but to them, you know, this is normal. The things they do to thwart and intervene when they can. You know,
they throw
quite
a
amazing.
balance. It's a balance. You know,
It
it's something that's out of our control. They can interfere. They're like the movie Godzilla.
Right, exactly.
When Godzilla comes up, when the other animals the movie Godzilla.
It's kind of also showing you how nature behaves as well. When there's, like in the movie Godzilla, whenever these giant creatures come to be and give life, the signal is sent to a being who is just as large, if not larger, to rise up and put that being in check. Because if that being is not put in check, it will destroy and thwart many covenants, contracts, and agreements. You see what we're saying here? So this is the amazing fact of life that I am definitely more than honored. I'm amazed. I give thanks all the time and gratitude to our family who are always around us, be cloaked in the skies or right here within the same space. No matter, I give them thanks, love, and gratitude all the time. And you guys should as well. Again, you're never alone, family, never alone. And if whatever happens to you, it was because there's something in that experience. When I say whatever happens to you, meaning what we would see as a tragedy, it is supposed to happen, and there's something in that experience that needs to happen for either our growth or our learning, or to balance our cause and effect, to balance our cycle, or a lesson for those of us who are around us, or something that is a catalyst that is supposed to elevate consciousness in the world in some kind of way. Either way, whether you see it as a negative or positive, all of it is leading towards a divine purpose. All right? So we're about to run out of time on this camera, so we're going to bring this one to a close. We really wish you all and bid you all a great, safe, and wonderful holiday.
Yes.
And we will see you on the other side of this cycle. 2016,
love.
Far more interesting. Immeasurable love always, y'all. Happy travels.
See you, love. Happy travels.